Hi, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, 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 welcome. Let me thank you for tuning in. I appreciate the fact that you have tuned in and just joining me so that we can chat. But let me say this. I think I need black Americans to come in front here. I need black Americans to come in front. There is a reason why I'm saying I need black Americans to come in front. The reason why I need black Americans to come in front on this particular video is because they tend to confuse South Africa with America, or they are rather trying to cut and paste America to South Africa, if you know what I mean. In other words, they want to appear as if South Africa is America, Probably when they visit, that is why they get confused. When they discover that South Africa is not America, they expect to see America when they go to Africa. It doesn't work like that, It doesn't work like that. When you come to America, you don't expect to see Africa. Similarly, when you go to Africa, you mustn't expect to see America. But the main reason why I'm calling black Americans to come in front is because they think we have states, for instance. When we don't have states, we have provinces. When you tell them about provinces, they get a little bit confused. But just right next door, right here in Canada, there are provinces there, there are no states, That is why even the president of America, Donald Trump, is want to take the whole of Canada and make it a state. What an interesting idea. Now let's put that aside for a moment. I want these 5 minutes that I'm going to have with you to focus on the political system of South Africa, the way it's organized, particularly our parliament, which will be your Congress. Okay? We have a multi-party democracy. A multi-party democracy is completely different from a two-party system, because America is a two-party system. They can say whatever they want, that no, even the Green Party is allowed, and so on and so on. But the fact of the matter is, this is a two-party system. There is no chance, actually, for a third party to contest and win election. The chances are 1 out of 100. Basically, if you have a party, you can't win. That is why some of the independent candidates, like Bernie Sanders and so on, they end up being attending caucus meetings of Democrats, because they understand the reality of the system in which they are operating in. I don't know whether you're still with me. Now, South Africa has a multi-party system. This is how it's functioning, that in a multi-party system. But in America, it's a two-party system. A two-party system, you have then the Democrats, or the Democratic Party, and the Republican Party, or the GOP. Well, some of you don't know what is a GOP. Even I'm talking about Americans, they don't know what is a GOP. They just say GOP. But GOP, what it stands for, they don't know. Many Americans don't know what the GOP stands for. It's the Republican Party. the Grand Old Party. Basically, this is what it means. It's a conservative party. If it was in South Africa during the olden days, we were going to say it's a conservative party. You know, the party of Kleinig and so on and so on. You know. So they have the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Then you have the Greens, you know, you have the Independents, you know. So, but normally they don't go anywhere. They just go around making noise, but they don't go anywhere. Now, in South Africa, we don't have that because the system is different. You have multi-party system. Multi means many. In other words, you have many parties taking part in the political structure, superstructure, or structure. And the elections are based on proportional representation. In America, you have the constituency system, where a person gets voted in his or her own district. If he's a senator, that senator contests in his or her state, because each state is having 2 senators, right? With us, it's a little bit different. We don't have a Senate. We have what is called the National Council of Provinces, which is really a little bit similar to the Senate, and it has 10 from each of the 9 provinces in South Africa. You have 50 states in America, we have 9 provinces, and 9 provinces are represented by 10 per province. They are called councillors. They are basically councillors. You know, they sit in the National Council of Provinces, which in the olden days it used to be called a Senate, but it's no longer a Senate now. It's called the National Council of Provinces. In America, you have the Senate, which has 2 per state. So multiply that by 10. You know, I think they also have 2 per territory. I'll check that. But during elections, normally my mind works very well when coming to representation and the electoral college and all that. My mind functions very sharp. So we have many parties in South Africa, more than 400 parties. But the parties that are in parliament now, they are not 400. They are, I think, 14 or something like that. I think 14 parties. But, I mean, you'll hear mostly about the 5 big parties, the ANC, the Democratic Alliance. You'll hear the MK party led by the former state president Zuma. Then you have the EFF, which is led by Malema. Then you have parties like the PA, the Patriotic Alliance. You know, then you'll have the Action SA, you know, led by Mr. Herman Mashaba. The PA is led by Gayton McKenzie. And the DA is led now, they elected, I think 2 weeks ago, they elected the new leader, is Jordan Hill-Lewis. He's the mayor of Cape Town. He's now the leader of the Democratic Alliance, the second largest party. Obviously, the ANC is led by the state president, Cyril Ramaphosa. Well, you can like him or not like him, but he's the state president and the president of the ANC. Now, they are represented in Parliament. You know, many of these, the top 5 that I've just mentioned, and also obviously you'll still have ATM parties such as ATM, such as Rise Mzansi, such as Good Party, such as Al Jamaa, which represent the interests of mostly Muslim. You know, and you have the ACDP, which represent the interests of Christians. Then you have the Freedom Front, which represents the interest of white Afrikaners. You know, the DA is still mostly represent the interest of white big business. You know, we can say whatever. They can all say they are representing South Africans and all that, but South Africa is deep into identity politics at the moment. Either it's religious, either it's skin color or race, either it's tribe or tribal politics. You know, so like, I mean, the IFP can say whatever it wants, but it's a tribal party. It represents the interests of the Zulus, okay? So you have the PA. The PA represents the interests of the colours. And actually they've said it themselves. You know, but you also still have the National Colored Congress, you know, led by Faisal Adams, who was recently arrested, you know, for interfering with the investigations of some other crimes. You know, they just say defeating the ends of justice. This is what the charge is all about. You know, so you have all these many parties representing the interests of different constituencies in parliament. You know, in America, people are either in the Democratic Party or in the Republican Party. This independence thing, they also basically vote either Democrat or Republican. You know, that is why when a Republican president takes over, there's no change in policy. Basically, they just continue. You know, even if the Democrats take over, the same situation actually applies. You know, there's no change. It's the same story. Now, basically, it's a one-party system that is different. Now, America, they are saying it's a free country. Thank God they are saying it's a free country. You can participate, you can do whatever. Well and good. That's true. You know, but it is difficult to change the system. You can't change the system. In other words, you can change everything in America that you want, but not the political system. There you can fight and spend whatever time you want to change it. Man, it will, even if you come with a pick and shovel, you can't do anything. You know, it's difficult to change the system in America. The only thing you can do is to influence the system and people to pursue whatever ideas that you have yourself, whether it's to change the Affordable Care Act, or whether you want the number of states to be increased, or you want Canada to be the 51st state of America. You know, you can influence the politicians that are already inside. That's the only way to do it. But outside of that, it's difficult for you. It will be difficult for you. So many Americans must understand that. I know it's not an easy subject, because I'm just summarizing here, just giving, actually not even summarize, but just giving you the parliamentary politics and the Congress politics a little bit. You know, because, I mean, I did a course in American government. Actually, it's called American government, the course. Very good. And with a good professor who knows South Africa very well. You know, so I passed it very well. So I did that course, which is a very interesting course. You know, I did it some 3 years ago. You know, I was studying a computer science program, which I completed. Actually, I got it. I passed it magna cum laude. You know? So it's very important for Americans to understand this, so that at least when they visit South Africa, they have a good idea of what is this country all about, and how is it functioning, how is it run, and who's running it, who are the politicians that are in charge. Same as when you visit America, if you are a South African, you need to understand how this system functions and how it is run, you know, how the country is managed, how America is managed. So America is a beautiful country, you know, with its own problems like any other country, but still is a beautiful country. South Africa is a beautiful country with its own problem. You can mention all the problems that it has, but it still is a beautiful country and is striving to be better. Same as America, it's a beautiful country striving to be better. You know, so many countries, even if you go to Malawi, it's a beautiful country striving to be better. Even though I can't live there because really, I'll be sending myself to 1800. I mean, I can't live in Malawi. It's a nice country. I've been to Uganda recently. It's a beautiful country, but I can't live there, man. Unless I want to send myself to the early 1900s, you know. But they are working very hard to try and improve the country and the economy of that country. So I have summarized, ladies and gentlemen. I never thought I would take such a long time and take more than 15 minutes explaining just the system, just the Congress and Parliament, or the institutions of different countries. Congress and Parliament of South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just stop here for today. You know, next time, normally I just do one video per week because I don't want to make you tired. So Americans, I know you're in front of the class and you're listening attentively. Now you have an idea. 9 provinces, 2 houses of parliament, National Assembly, and a National Council of Provinces. It's a multi-party system in South Africa. It's not a 2-party system. And we don't have a constituency system, but we have parties represented in parliament. And the president comes from the majority party. That's how it works. It's not a presidential system. So stay blessed. We'll talk next time. Let the light keep shining upon you. I'll see you next time. Talk later. Bye.